Storm has teeth, lightning claws across the Atlantic night, bearing veins of light that briefly reveal the metal beast cutting through the heavens. Air Force One, the most protected aircraft on Earth, shudders but holds steady, its wings like white crucifixes burning against the storm. Inside, the presidential cabin is still. Crystal water quivers on mahogany. A flag in the corner sways by fractions. Secret Service agents guard thresholds. With the quiet patience of statues, the hum of engines is the lullaby of empire, and then, through a tear in the clouds, the blood moon stares in. A red glow seeps through the oval window and touches a hand. Colonel Reeves' hand, decorated pilot, decorated soldier, decorated liar to himself. His knuckles tighten, nails blackening under the skin as though poisoned by light. He clasps his wrist. Breath catches, something older than war sighs through. Him, in the ducts above, a low vibration spreads, a subsonic howl carried by steel ribs carpeting flagpoles and the very presidential seal woven into the rug. No human ear hears it, but every vertebra along the spine of the plane shivers, the lights flicker. For an instant, the presidential cabin is red. At 30,000 feet, a door inside a man has been unlocked. The storm grins wider. The president does not give speeches tonight. Just a fragile treaty, a stack of papers, a pen resting near his tea. He sits with his counsel, a woman whose voice has carved more laws than most senators. Together, they edit the fate of nations. Between sips of chamomile, 5 minutes away, in the cockpit, Reeves stares ahead. His co-pilot, Lieutenant Farrell, hums under his breath and notes fuel trim. The moonlight drips through the windshield like arterial spray. Farrell says something about turbulence. Reeve doesn't answer. His jaw clenches against a pain no checklist prepared him for. He glances. At his hand, veins pulse like rivers in flood. The nails are already sharpening. He tucks his hand under the console, pretends. In the press cabin, a journalist named Hargrove wakes to gooseflesh. He doesn't know why. He hears only the white noise of turbines. But his skin insists something is prowling these halls. His instincts whisper, story. Further forward, Agent Cordell stands sentry. His eyes scan the president's door, the cockpit corridor, the still faces of aides and staff. He has lived long, enough with fear to recognize when silence itself feels armed. Reeve excuses himself. Sinuses, he says. Farrell shrugs and takes the yoke. Reeve moves down the corridor with a pilot's gait, deliberate, balanced, as though walking on the edge of a blade. In the lavatory mirror, another face waits. His own, yet not, pupils blown wide. Amber leaking into the iris, cheeks pulled taut. He grips the sink. Aluminum squeals. He whispers his grandmother's warning, a bedtime story he thought superstition. Never take the hunt above the altar. The sky does not forgive. His jaw cracks. Teeth bud like white knives breaking gum. The first hair sprouts through his cheek. May, the flight attendant, knocks lightly. Colonel, you all right? He answers too quickly. Fine. The word snarls as it leaves his throat. The lights flicker again. For a breathless moment, the entire plane is painted red. In the presidential cabin, the president looks up from the treaty. Everything all right? Cordell's voice is calm. Practiced routine, sir. But nothing about tonight is routine. The blood moon has found Air Force One, and it is hungry, trapped at 30,000 feet with no way out. If you think you could survive what's coming, prove it. Subscribe before the blood moon rises again. The lavatory is too small for a man, let alone a beast. Colonel Reeve grips the sink, forehead pressed to cold metal, every tendon in his body thrumming like power lines in a storm. His reflection flickers with the overhead light, a cruel slideshow. His face, then not his face. The pupils are pits. The irises are molten coin. Sweat beads along his hairline but vanishes too fast, as though his skin drinks it back. Nails lengthen, bones ripple under the flesh, shoulders widening against the walls. His Teeth creak in his gums. One splits through, dragging a ribbon of blood. He tastes copper, snarls, then bites his own palm in desperate prayer. May lingers on the other side of the door, tray in hand. She hears the muffled groan, low and animal. Her training tells her to ignore it. Everything about this plane runs on order and silence, but something primal, something older than uniforms and service manuals, whispers. Knock again. She does, Colonel. I'm opening this if you don't answer. From inside, a bark, one word, jagged as broken glass. Don't. May freezes. The sound is human, and yet not. Inside, Reeve hammers his fist against the sink. The mirror fractures into a web of light, jagged. Lines crawling across his reflection like cracks in sanity. His chest heaves. His uniform shirt splits at the seam. He feels the moon burning through aluminum, skin, and marrow. The plane banks slightly, engines correcting through the storm. In the cockpit, Farrell hums louder to himself, unaware the air behind him is becoming hostile. Reeves' throat swells with a howl too large to release. His eyes roll white. He claws at his own face as if peeling away the man to keep the monster buried, but the blood moon insists. Relentless, merciless, the first howl escapes. It rattles through the ducts, trembles across the fuselage, threads down the carpeted aisle like a serpent of sound. It is not loud, but it is everywhere. Every passenger feels it in their ribs before their ears. Agent Cordell stiffens. His hand drifts to his shoulder holster, but he knows no gun can be fired here. Not at 30,000 feet, not with treaties on the table, not with the president 3 doors away. May's hand trembles on the latch. She whispers, "Colonel." The door bulges outward. Metal groans. Something behind it hurls weight against the frame. The fluorescent light inside shatters, plunging the lavatory into crimson half-dark. Cordell moves. May, back. His voice is all steel. He plants himself. Between her and the door, the pounding grows fists, claws. Neither, both. The door dents, a snarling silhouette pressing from within. Cordell touches his comm. Shift to aft galley. Now. His words are calm. His heart is not inside. Reeves' last shred of humanity surfaces. His voice, layered with growl, whispers, "Un," and then the door explodes outward. Shards of aluminum scatter across the corridor. May stumbles, gasping. Cordell raises his baton, not his gun, and meets the shape that bursts forth. Reeve is half-formed. His face is a war between man and wolf. Jaw lengthening, fur sprouting in violent patches, eyes lit with molten rage. He lunges, scraping claws gouging into the walls of Air Force One. May screams once. Cordell shoves her back with one arm, swinging the baton with the other. It connects. With a sound like a church bell struck wrong, the beast snarls, stumbling but not stopping. Passengers stir in the press cabin. Hargrove jolts awake, his instincts firing like ink on paper. He hears the growl, smells the copper. He knows without knowing that history has shifted. His phone itches in his hand. Reeve, or what's left of him, snaps his head toward the presidential cabin. His nostrils flare. He has found the scent of power, of bloodline, of the one person he should never reach. Cordell braces himself. "You're not going in there," he mutters, voice shaking but steady. The werewolf smiles with too many teeth. The storm outside hammers the plane. Lightning blinds the windows, thunder rolls, and inside the first true hunt has begun. Not in forests or mountains, but in a flying fortress with nowhere to run. What happens when the curse breaks loose in the safest place on Earth? Stay with us, because the blood moon hasn't even shown its full face yet. The corridor is too narrow for the monster that claws its way out. Aluminum shrieks under the weight of Colonel Reeves' half-born frame. Fur bristles in violent patches along his neck, shoulders tearing the uniform into ribbons. His spine arches, each vertebra cracking like knuckles. The howl he gives is strangled, half-human apology, half-animal birth cry. May stumbles backward on hands and knees. Her tray cart tips over, silverware skittering across the carpet like shrapnel. She catches a glimpse of his face through her terror. One eye still human, pleading, the other molten, amber, merciless. Cordell plants himself in the corridor, baton raised, the only dam between the beast and the President Colonel, he says, voice steady. Stand down. The wolf tilts its head, recognition flickering across a ruin of a face. For one impossible second, the man answers, his lips twitch around words, "Sir, help me." Then the transformation surges again. Flesh gives way to fur, teeth punch through gum, his jaw splits wide, no longer capable of human syllables. Reeve is gone. The werewolf lunges. Cordell meets it, baton striking across the snout with a crack. The creature reels but barely staggers. Its claws swipe, gouging through the paneling, tearing a scar across the metal wall. Cordell ducks, shoves upward, using every ounce of leverage to push the beast back toward the galley. The plane groans as though echoing the fight inside. Turbulence rattles trays. Oxygen masks sway on unseen cords, and the blood moon's glow sneaks through the shades, as if determined to witness. May scrambles behind. Cordell, her back hitting the galley counter, she clutches a silver serving tray to her chest like a shield. The wolf snarls, breath steaming, and lowers into a crouch. Behind it, the lavatory door hangs twisted, claw marks etched into the steel. The corridor is now a cage, and everyone inside it prey. Then, another sound, from the vents above, a low vibration, deeper than turbines, older than storm. It isn't the wolf, it's something the wolf has awakened. The plane itself seems to exhale. Cordell flicks his eyes up, sweat streaming. What the hell? The werewolf hears it too, its ears swivel toward the ceiling, nostrils flaring at the ductwork. Something in the sound unsettles it. For the first time, it hesitates, and in that heartbeat, the president opens his door. Cordell. His voice slices. The chaos with calm authority. A terrible mistake, or the only thing keeping fate intact. The wolf's head snaps toward the sound. Its body coils, muscles quivering. The president's scent drifts through the open door. Authority. Bloodline. Something ancient and binding. No, Cordell growls, stepping wide, baton across his chest. You're not getting in there. The wolf lowers, lips peeling back over razors. Its eyes burn with a hunger that isn't just flesh. It wants sovereignty. It wants the throne. From the press cabin, startled shouts erupt. Journalists stir, craning over seats. Hargrove clutches, his phone, thumb hovering over record but paralyzed by the weight of the moment. He knows, instinctively, that if he presses it, the world will never believe him. If he doesn't, he'll never forgive himself. The wolf moves, Cordell braces, and then the plane drops. A pocket of turbulence slams the fuselage, hurling everyone sideways. May crashes against the galley. Cordell slams shoulder first into the wall. The wolf tumbles, claws raking gouges into the carpet. The intercom sputters with Farrell's oblivious voice. Ladies and gentlemen, minor turbulence ahead. Static. The wolf rises slowly, steadying itself with a claw against the wall. The red moonlight finds it through the window, painting fur in fire. Cordell staggers to his feet, chest heaving. He knows his baton isn't enough. He knows bullets can't be fired. He knows the president is watching, and still he stands. Come on then, he mutters, setting his jaw. Let's see if altitude makes a difference. The wolf snarls from the vents. The low vibration swells, as if the plane itself has joined the hunt. The blood moon burns brighter, and the most secure sky throne in the world has become a cage for gods and monsters. At 30,000 feet, the walls are closing in, and the hunt has only begun. If you're still here, you're part of the pack now. Don't look away. The president should not open the door. Every protocol drilled into Cordell's bones screams it. The wolf is crouched in the corridor, claws sunk into the carpet, eyes molten with the hunger of an eclipse. But the door clicks, and the president steps into view, not with panic, not with bravado, just with the quiet gravity of a man used to the weight of history. Cordell, he says. His voice doesn't waver. It never does. Cordell shifts to block him, baton still raised, heart hammering. Sir, back inside. Now, the wolf lifts its head. The blood moon sneaks through a seam in the shades and paints the scene like a cathedral window. Fur catches the light in red shimmer. For the first time, the creature stops advancing. It stares at the president. The scent is different. Not prey, not predator. Something older. Authority written in the marrow. Reeve. The president says, his tone equal parts order and prayer. Stand down. The wolf's lips twitch. For one, impossible. Breath. The man flickers through, eyes glistening, teeth grinding against restraint. Then the beast surges back, chest swelling, throat rumbling with a sound like a jet engine trying to form words. May, trembling behind Cordell, whispers, He knows you. The wolf snarls, then lurches forward, muscles bunching. Cordell steps into its path, bracing for death, but instead of striking, the beast halts, its head cocked, nostrils flaring. It breathes in the president as if memorizing. Him, sir, Cordell mutters, eyes locked on amber fire. It wants you. The president doesn't flinch. He steps closer. The council behind him hisses, Don't! But he ignores her. His life has been one long negotiation, and he recognizes the stakes. You still know duty, he says. His voice is soft, but it cuts deeper than steel. You still know vows. Remember them. The wolf's chest heaves. A guttural sound tears loose, half snarl, half syllable. Vow. Cordell stiffens. May clamps a hand over her mouth. The president tilts his head, steady as a stone. What vow? Betrayal, the wolf growls. The word drips from its muzzle like poison. Sky, altar, no blood above. The council frowns. What does that mean? But the president already understands. He grew up on stories whispered by coal lamps, half-believed warnings wrapped in folklore. He knows the power of old rules. No hunt above the altar, he repeats softly. The sky is the altar. The wolf's ears twitch. Its jaw closes. For a heartbeat, silence reigns. Then Farrell's voice crackles from the overhead speaker. Colonel, need you back up here. We've got a storm stack ahead. Colonel. The wolf roars at the sound, furious at the intrusion. Cordell flinches but doesn't strike. The president lifts his hand, not in command, but in offering. Slowly, impossibly, the beast lowers its head. Its fur bristles, claws gouge the rug, but it bends. A gesture older than politics, older than war, submission, or recognition. The council can't breathe. May feels tears sting her eyes. Cordell's grip on the baton loosens by fractions. The president places his hand on its fur. Heat radiates up his arm like fire beneath earth. For one heartbeat, he sees the boy Reeve. Must have been snow at the fence, quilt pulled to chin, his grandmother's voice whispering the warning. You kept the road. The president murmurs, we broke it when we put you in the sky. The wolf's breath huffs like agreement. Cordell's calm. Buzzes, agents on the aft line whisper, do we move? Do we contain? He doesn't answer. He can't, because the president is touching a werewolf, and the werewolf is letting him. The blood moon floods the window again, straining through the shade. The wolf lifts its head and growls, not at the president, but at the sky. Betrayal. It says again, louder this time, moon punishes. The president nods once, grim as scripture. Then tonight, we hold to the vow, no blood above the altar. The wolf exhales, long and shuddering. Its eyes dim slightly. The amber softened by the man buried inside. Cordell whispers under his breath, like a man at church. God help us, but God doesn't answer. The moon does. Lightning cracks the clouds. Thunder shakes the fuselage, and the blood moon burns brighter, demanding payment. And the wolf, caught between loyalty and curse, howls in answer. The vow is broken. The sky itself demands blood. But whose? Stay, because the blood moon isn't done feeding yet. The cabin is hushed, but it is not silent. Silence would be mercy. This is something else, an oppressive weight, the kind that drags on lungs and twists the gut. The wolf crouches at the center of it all, breathing in thunderous gulps, fur slicked. In sweat and stormlight, no gunfire, no screaming. Not yet everyone aboard has realized the same terrible truth. To spill blood here above the clouds would be to shatter whatever ancient vow still binds this beast. The sky is an altar, and violence is a sacrifice the moon demands. Cordell knows it in his bones. May feels it in the roots of her teeth. Even Hargrove in the press cabin, clutching his phone with clammy hands, senses that this story can't be written in ink, only in scars. The president breaks the standoff with his voice. Calm, grounded, Colonel. The hunt ends here. The wolf's ears twitch, its head lowers, teeth clicking together. It isn't agreement, but it isn't a charge either. May, heart hammering, inches forward. She places a sweating carafe of ice water on the table, as though laying an offering on a shrine. The wolf's nostrils flare. It leans down, steaming breath rolling across the glass, and exhales a low growl that rattles the crystal. Then, miracle, it lowers its muzzle and drinks. Steam hisses as hot breath collides with cold. Droplets of water streak down fur. The wolf shudders, as though cooled for the first time since the transformation began. The council, eyes wide, whispers, "Shade the windows." Cordell gestures sharply. Agents at their posts obey. Electric shades hum downward, sealing the cabin from the moon's gaze. The red glow thins, the air cools, the wolf exhales. A long, rattling sigh that almost sounds human. Its claws retract a fraction, leaving gouges in the rug like runes carved into scripture, but the storm won't be denied. Lightning cleaves the horizon, painting the fuselage in strobe flashes. The plane jolts. A tray of paper scatters. Treaties and signatures fluttering like panicked birds. The wolf snaps its head toward the sound, hackles spiking. Hargrove flinches, his thumb nearly presses record, but instinct stops him. He knows what will happen if proof leaks. Panic, denial, war. Some truths eat nations alive. He tucks the phone away, hand trembling. The president remains unmoved. He places his palm back on the beast's shoulder. "Listen to me," he says. "Your vow was broken by the sky, but we can honor it still. No blood above the altar." The wolf growls, low, guttural, but doesn't strike. Its eyes soften, amber paling toward human brown. For a heartbeat, Reeve flickers inside. "Duty," the wolf rasps, one word, half snarl, half oath. "Yes," the president says firmly. "Duty, yours and mine." Cordell's comm crackles. "Condition update," a voice asks. He doesn't answer. Words feel like heresy here. He just watches, breath shallow, baton lowered but ready. May whispers to herself like a prayer. "Stay with us, Colonel. Please stay." The wolf's head snaps toward her voice. May gasps, certain she's doomed, but instead of lunging, the beast blinks. Slow, deliberate. Its gaze softens like recognition. The human part inside is fighting. The storm surges again. The plane dips hard, rattling everything not bolted down. Oxygen masks sway like nooses overhead. Passengers gasp, clutching armrests. The wolf staggers but doesn't attack. The president steadies himself against the table. "Colonel Reeve, you kept the road once. Keep it now. No blood." The wolf shudders, a full-body quake that rattles teeth. In jaws and steel in rivets, its mouth opens, fangs gleaming in the dim cabin light. Everyone braces for carnage, but instead it howls. Not a hunting cry, not a war scream. A mournful broken wail that threads through steel and carpet, rattling windows and settling into every chest aboard like an oath too heavy to carry. Tears streak May's face. Cordell tightens his grip but doesn't move. Hargrove, in the press cabin, silently mouths the words, "No blood above the altar," and as the howl fades, so does the fury. The wolf lowers itself, chest heaving, claws sinking into the rug as though anchoring itself against the pull of the curse. The president whispers, "We'll see you to the ground." The beast closes its eyes, surrendering for now. But outside, the blood moon swells, the storm snarls, and everyone aboard knows the vow has bought them time, not safety, The sky is still hungry. You heard it too, didn't you? That vow, that howl. If you're still watching, you're in the pack now. Don't break it. Subscribe before the moon rises again. Time bends in the cabin. Minutes drag like chains, then snap forward in jolts. The wolf crouches at the center, trembling between collapse and eruption. The president's hand still rests against its shoulder, a fragile tether holding back apocalypse. In the cockpit, Farrell's voice crackles over the intercom. Heavy turbulence ahead, requesting descent clearance. Controllers want us lower. His words are steady, but beneath them lives a pulse of panic. Cordell glances at the president. Then at the beast. He knows altitude matters. Higher means closer to the vow's altar. Lower might dull the curse, or tempt it further. The president doesn't hesitate. Take us down, he says. Farrell doesn't question. Engines groan as the nose tips. Air Force One tilts into descent, slicing through layers of storm. Clouds peel away like curtains in a nightmare theater. The cabin lurches, drinks topple, papers flutter. May braces herself against the galley, one hand clutching the treaty pages as if they were sacred texts. Hargrove grips his seatbelt, white-knuckled, eyes wide. He can't look away from the shadow of the beast flickering across the aisle. The wolf snarls at the shifting pressure, claws scoring deeper gouges into the carpet. Its ears twitch violently. The descent awakens something in it. Panic, rage, or prophecy. It snaps its jaws at the air, fangs clacking like steel traps. Steady, the president murmurs, voice iron wrapped in calm. Colonel Reeve, steady. The beast turns its head, eyes molten, and for a heartbeat the man surfaces. Lips split around a single word. Ground. Yes, the president says firmly. We're going home. The storm answers with a hammer blow. Lightning strikes near the wing, a strobe of white that blinds the cabin. The fuselage shudders. Oxygen masks tumble like pendulums of doom. Passengers gasp, prayers spilling in a dozen languages. Cordell holds his ground, baton still raised though his arm is shaking. He has faced bullets, knives, bombs, never this, never a myth snarling. Inches from his throat, yet he refuses to yield. May edges closer with trembling bravery. She lays a folded blanket across the treaty, as if offering comfort to beast and president alike. The wolf's nostrils flare. Its breathing slows a notch. Keep reading. The president orders his counsel. She stares at him, incredulous. Sir, now, he says, never looking away from the wolf. Words hold weight. Let's remind it what we stand for. Her hands tremble as she lifts the page. Each party commits to uphold the common path and refrain from actions that threaten the shared sky. The wolf tilts its head, ears twitch. Something in the rhythm of the words, ritual, vow, law, seems to soothe it. Its claws retract a fraction. The plane punches through another pocket of turbulence, dropping like a stone. Screams echo from the press cabin. Hargrove clutches his armrest, knuckles bone white. Still, he whispers the words under his breath. Shared sky. The engines scream, fighting gravity. Farrell mutters curses into the yoke, sweat drips down his temple. But below, through slashes in the clouds, the faint glow of runway lights begins to pulse like a heartbeat. Almost there, the president murmurs. He feels the wolf's heat under his palm, searing but steady. Stay with us, Colonel. No blood, not up here. The beast trembles, lips peeling back to reveal razors slick with spit. Then, impossibly, it nods, just once. May gasps. Cordell exhales, not relief but disbelief. The plane roars through the last wall of storm, bursting into clearer night. The blood moon, huge and merciless, hangs above the horizon like an open wound. It splashes the cabin in crimson again, tearing at the fragile peace. The wolf throws back its head and howls. The sound shakes the fuselage, rattles hearts, stirs primal terror in every soul aboard. Yet there is no strike, no kill. It is not a hunting cry, it is defiance. The howl echoes, then fades. Outside, the runway grows nearer, the storm falls behind. The blood moon watches, furious and denied. Air Force One descends toward Earth, a silver spear streaking through red-lit sky. Inside, the vow holds. For now, the storm won't let them go, and the blood moon wants its price. Will the vow hold when wheels hit the ground? Stay, because the final descent has only just begun. Ground, and the door that stays closed. The wheels bite the runway, rubber shrieks against asphalt, a scream swallowed by turbines throttling down. Air Force One shakes as though the earth itself resists catching her, then steadies. An iron angel. Dragged from the storm, the engines howl once more before sinking into a guttural hum. Inside, no one moves. The wolf crouches low in the presidential cabin, claws gouged deep into the rug. Its chest heaves, steam rolling from its nostrils. The president's hand still rests firm on its fur, anchoring beast and vow alike around them. Agents stand frozen, weapons holstered but ready, eyes wide with disbelief at what they've survived. May is the first to breathe audibly, a shaky laugh spilling past tears. "We're down," she whispers, as though speaking it makes it true. Cordell doesn't relax. His grip on the baton remains white-knuckled. Landing is not safety. It's another kind of threshold, and thresholds are dangerous. The wolf lifts its head. Through the oval window, the runway lights flare like a procession of candles. Beyond them, the blood moon hangs huge and vengeful, glaring down at the plane that dared defy it. "Colonel," the president murmurs, "you hear that? We kept the vow. No blood above the altar." The wolf blinks slowly, recognition flickering through molten eyes. Its lips part, not in a snarl but in the shape of words. The sound that escapes is rough, ragged, but human. No blood May covers. Her mouth. Cordell feels a chill rip through his chest. The beast is speaking, the man is surfacing. The president nods once, grim and certain. "Good. Then we finish this together." Outside, the convoy lines up. Armored SUVs, floodlights, men in best gripping rifles they pray they won't have to fire. Engines idle like restless beasts. But no hatch opens. Not yet, because inside, history still breathes. The council dares a whisper. "Sir, we can't bring him down those stairs. Not like this. The world will see what it always sees." The president interrupts. "What we choose to show." His eyes stay locked on the wolf this part. "This stays between us and the moon." The wolf exhales, long and shuddering. For the first time, its shoulders sag. It looks less like a monster waiting to kill, and more like a soldier who's carried too much weight for too long. Cordell radios. In low calm, "Stand down, cabin secure, hold perimeter." The words are lies dressed as truth, but they keep the outside world at bay. May moves closer, blanket in her arms. She drapes it carefully across the wolf's back, as though tucking in a sleeping child. Fur bristles under the cloth, but no claws swing. The beast accepts it. The president takes his hand away at last. The air between them chills. But the connection lingers. "Colonel Reeve," he says softly, "we'll see you safe. A stone circle, trees, a place where vows are kept. Not cages, not chains." The wolf huffs. Its eyes glimmer amber once more before dimming, surrendering to exhaustion. From the cockpit, Farrell announces, voice trembling but steady, "Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ramstein Air Base. Local time is 0430, conditions stable." He doesn't dare say more. The plane taxis slowly, like a leviathan crawling to rest. The floodlights glare against its skin. The moon glares harder. The president leans close to the wolf's ear, voice low enough only beast and storm can hear. Above the altar, "We keep our teeth sheathed. That's the promise, that's the pact." The wolf growls once in reply, not threat, not hunger, agreement. The door remains sealed, stairs idle uselessly against the fuselage. Cameras outside wait for the shot that never comes. Because some stories cannot be told, the council gathers the scattered treaty papers. Her hands shake as she tucks them into a folder. She knows the addendum the president scrawled in the margin. No blood above the altar, will never see daylight. And yet, It will guide everything. Cordell lowers his baton at last. His shoulders sag. He mutters a quiet prayer of thanks to a God he isn't sure still listens above red moons. May sits heavily against the wall, tears drying on her cheeks. She looks at the wolf, blanketed, trembling but still, and whispers, "We'll get you home." The engines wind down. The storm recedes. The blood moon sulks on the horizon, denied its feast but promising it will rise again. The cabin still reeks of sweat, fur and iron. Gouges scar the walls. Claw marks mar the presidential rug. But no blood stains the floor, the vow held. For tonight, the president exhales, the weight of myth and nation pressing into his lungs. He looks out at the moon. One final time. Lips moving in words no aid will ever record. We brought you down, and we didn't bleed for it. Remember that. The wolf's ears twitch, its eyes close. Sleep or surrender claims it. The door stays closed. The plane rests on earth, and the altar of the sky remembers the promise. The sky still wants blood. And one night, it'll take it. Stay with us. The pack story isn't finished yet, and for those who hunger for more, step deeper into the shadows with our ultimate werewolf horror playlist, linked in the description below. In the world of horror, the scariest things happen when you least expect them. And trust me, you don't want to be left in the dark. Welcome to the darkness.